Welcome back, you join me once again this fine Wednesday because the Emperor's Children have got head. I can't use that as a title, that's not going to work. Yes, it's true, the Ecstatic Epistle is back and it means more sneaky teases, more little peeks at the Emperor's Children and their upcoming stuff, whatever that turns out to be. Whether it's just a single set of upgrades, it's not going to be that, it's going to be way more. But we do have this. We have this. Heads and helmets fit for hedonists. Sure. So yeah, last week we got pauldrons. Was it last week or was it the week before? Whenever it was, we got pauldrons. This time round, we've got some heads. One of them is extremely surprised about something, and the other two it's hard to tell because they're proper helmets. So let's take a proper look, kind of. Let's make it bigger than that. That's rubbish. Come on. There we go. There we are. So we've got sort of a bare head option and then two helmets. The bare head has got a big old speaker grill in the mouth, a nice couple of cables sticking out of it. There might be a third cable, or is that just like a valve? It's like a cranial valve. I don't know what a cranial valve is. I've said it out loud, and now I have no idea what that could be. Releasing pressure from the brain? Isn't that something they used to do back in the olden days when they didn't understand how medicine worked? They would just cut a hole in the skull, trepanning, to let the pressure out, and then that would mean you didn't have a headache. Why do I know that? Is that even correct? I'm going to shut up. I have to admit, I do quite like the bare head option there. The extremely chunky spiky collar is very over the top, but then again, Emperor's Children. Of course it's over the top. What else would it be? There is something just not right about seeing rendered eyes. Like, if they're painted in some way, that gives you a better feel for how it properly looks. But I've never liked just grey rendered eyes because the lack of soul it really sticks out. It makes the whole thing look really dead and lifeless, which is just an issue with the medium as opposed to the actual model, but I don't know, it looks pretty decent. The spikes are very, very chunky on that collar. Like, I'm thinking they might be a little bit too chunky for my liking personally, but it's always harder to tell when you don't see them in either just normal plastic, given that details tend to look a little bit better outside of renders. I always find these look a bit soft. I don't know how else to put it, but we'll wait and see on that. The two helmets I quite like. The two helmets are decent. We have previously talked about what Emperor's Children could look like, and something that I really like in terms of the visual side of things is the Head Knights of Slaanesh, which are from AOS, and having a bit of that kind of ornamentation and decoration on the Emperor's Children, I kind of thought would work pretty well. It looks kind of like that's sort of what we're getting here, a little bit. Now, obviously, Slaanesh is Slaanesh, and so there's going to be shared design elements across pretty much any system that features them, but I do think that one of the best examples that Games Workshop has done of Slaanesh-based infantry is the Myrmidesh Painbringers, who look like this, and I think it's fair to say that you can see a nice bit of crossover there between the stylings present on these models and the stylings on these helmets. Definitely not a bad thing. I do like that we seem to have a bit of more like a speaker grill on one side. The centre one seems more like a standard kind of grill that you get on a Space Marine helmet of that sort of era. It's kind of very flat. It's kind of beaky, but not beaky. I feel like the brow is really exaggerated. It almost looks like that helmet has got eyelashes. It feels like the lenses are shaped just a little bit different, and that heavy brow really, I don't know, there's an element there that it feels weird to say that a helmet from some power armor looks more feminine than the other helmet on the page, but like, I don't know how else to put it, because that's kind of how it feels. The big old crest of hair from a nice decorative section, always a win on anything related to Chaos, and especially so on this, because it does look different to the kind of standard Chaos approach to that sort of thing. I did also initially think it looked a teeny bit Eldar, just a little bit, just a tiny bit, not a lot, just a wee tad. Overall, it's relatively plain, though. For a Chaos Space Marine / Emperor's Children / Slaanesh-based Chaos Marine, it's relatively toned down, which is absolutely not a criticism. I think it suits the purpose very well. So yeah, I'm not too fussed about like a lack of filigree or carvings or whatever. I think that's pretty much perfect, to be honest, that central one. The other one with the big crest but no hair, the more kind of decorative approach, that interesting sort of symbol. It's not really a symbol, but the way that that filigree lays over the helmet, I like it, but it's definitely a lot busier. You've also got little things like those bits of decoration on the tubes that go into the front of the helmet as well. It really does feel very, very different from the other helmet on show. And again, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think a nice variation where you've got a bunch of different styles and like levels of decoration and just extra detail, I think that's the way to go. Be really interested to see what other ones there are, because it's not going to be just these 3. There's going to be so much stuff, hopefully, fingers crossed, but I'm looking forward to seeing what else they do. So we've had 3 helmets, we've had 3 shoulder pads, I believe it was. We're just going to constantly get a nice little trickle of interesting stuff. I like that they do this now, where we actually get to see a bit of the development before we get the actual full product. We actually get to see the progress as it's being made, or at least not as it's being made, because I'm sure these will have been done well before this, months and months and months and months ago, but possibly even years. But it's nice that we have that build-up and we kind of see them before they just reach here's the finished, polished product. I like that we're getting that kind of peek behind the curtain. It's good stuff. Let me know what you think of those in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, and I will see you for the next one, which will be a stream later. I've made too much stuff today. But, oh well, I guess I'll just carry on making more stuff.